Today's presentation is based on an article pulled out of edweek.org on April 21st, 2014. It refers directly to special populations, referring to special educational needs and some of the accommodations needed for examination purposes through the Common Core state standards. So that includes mathematics and English. This article is actually named Common Assessment Groups, but really how they differ in accommodations and what they define as accommodations. So as you can see, the field testing began March 24th and June 6, 2014, and it encompassed 4 million students in 36 states, including District of Columbia. All but a handful of states have adopted these standards, and it created a bevy of vendors. We're only going to focus on two of these groups, influential vendors. As you can see, there are two distinct vendors: the PARC, Partnership for Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers, and Smarter Balance Assessment Consortium. Now, both of them promise both inclusion and self-sufficiency within these accommodations, and these are the most influential in terms of policy information. So who are they? So we'll look a little bit more into their history. The Partnership for Assessment and Readiness for College and Careers is a group of states working together to develop a set assessments. In comparison to Smarter Balance, who actually got their funding from US Department of Education in 2010, and it's a state-led consortium working to develop next generation assessments. Okay, so moving on, let's look at the geographic scope. So as you can see, Michigan is part of the Smarter Balance Consortium, and as you can see, it's spread across the various states. And then we have a list of the PARC. So as you can see down that list, it's a variety of states there. Now the vendors are hoping for change, and this is the promise. These are the similarities between the vendors. They, as I mentioned earlier, more inclusion, self-sufficiency, and to embed universal technological tools and multi-language glossaries. So this is what their concept was. Now the key difference, which is highlighted in this article, remains the testing of these standards. So the Smarter Balance actually prohibit any students in grade 3 to 5 from using the Read Aloud accommodation, and that's some of the software that you might be familiar with, because you can get text-to-speech software out there for free. PARC, however, will allow a student in any grade to access the text-to-speech during the English language exams if required by his or her individual education plan. The IEP, which is compulsory under the Individual Disability Education Act, so the IDEA 2004. Accessibility features really focuses on offering different language glossaries, and the PARC provide paper-based glossaries too. These are not online. So moving on, the differences with Smarter Balance is they will permit the Read Aloud accommodation to students in grade 6. PARC will allow it at any level, and they both disagree on this stance of providing translation for tests in other languages. So let me just confirm that. So the Read Aloud accommodation is the key difference. However, they both disagree on this stance, providing translation for tests in other languages, especially Spanish. So what are the repercussions? This, summarising this article, I think that it creates a divergent opinion on testing for such populations rather than building best practices. And this is a huge, would have a huge impact on special education, because special education has already is already split in many quarters in terms of how and what are best practices, and some of these differences can be found in definitions regarding the IDEA 2004 legislation too. And when we look at the essence of accommodations, it is designed not to give students a leg up, but to level the playing field. So the topic of English language learners is also an issue. Some states are English only, some are required to give assessments in Spanish. The policies and legislations are all over the place, so truly it will be a state decision as the state governs education. Just to confirm that although those are the sticky matter in terms of read aloud accommodations, both do actually provide videos for American Sign Language and Braille option for the blind. So to this end, really the question to the group is, how do we come together to create best practices in special education? What models do we use, and how does the national government influence state policy in terms of education? So looking at this statement, of course, taken from the core standards, it says, with students, parents and teachers all on the same page, working together towards shared goals, we can ensure that students make progress each year and graduate from high school prepared to succeed in college, career and life. Now, when we look at the statement in terms of special education, the key word here is, are we really on the same page? Are we working towards shared goals? What are those shared goals? Does it differ from different disabilities, i.e. somebody who is blind or profoundly deaf? And what happens to this special population of children once they leave school? And do they go on to live? Do they go on to have careers, or have a healthy life, or go to college? So really, what is the question here is, what is your experience of children with special educational needs, and how do you accommodate them for testing?